Welcome everybody to the Trisbrina Show episode. And today we're going to dig into this interesting situation where you're looking at renewal and rebirth, but it don't look good on the outside. You're like, this isn't good. It looks like something's dying. It looks like something's falling apart.
Right, and we have some examples from our own life, and we even have like a little movie to show you. But what we're talking about is when growth is happening, when expansion is happening. At first, it just seems like things are breaking. It seems like things are dying.
Yep.
And because I don't think the human brain really runs towards change, right? A lot of times we like what seems normal. We like the way it was, because no matter what is, once you get used to it, that starts to feel right.
Yep.
Even if it's unhealthy.
Yep.
So we talk a lot about, let's say somebody breaks their arm and they can't use it for a while because it's healing. Well, they start adapting to use their left arm for everything, and then when their right arm is healed, it will feel really weird to start using it again because it's no longer normal. So what is normal, a lot of times we look at and say, that's the way it should be. But what's happening in the world right now, one of the many reasons everyone's so freaked out is it's not normal, and everybody's saying, when is it going to go back to normal? Never.
Never.
It is never going back to normal, because we have shifted. Everyone has grown. Things have happened. We are different people. The situations might be similar in the future, but it can't go back. It only has to move forward because of rebirth, renewing, and regrowth.
Yes.
But there's things that happen during those phases that can almost seem like growing pains that show evidence of not good. This is definitely not good.
A lot of reaction.
But it is good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it when you're in the middle of it, right? I've been known to say suffering is grace in disguise. Grace in disguise. Doesn't feel like grace when you're going through it. Doesn't feel like golden opportunity. Can
you hear him okay?
Doesn't feel like a gift. Doesn't feel like a wonderful catalyst for expansion. An expedient that's going to bring me closer to my goals and dreams. Yay, I open arms to this. I lean in with love. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like, WTF, what's going on? This isn't right. This is not, nope, didn't order that, didn't plan for this, not right. Right, so we're going to show a little movie right now, just on our walk earlier, and you'll jump right into the flow of where we're going with this. Hopefully the audio will play for you. Here we go.
In a moment with this tree, Sabrina said something kind of interesting and cool. So, see how it's all peeling off? Look, you got a big piece in your hand.
Yeah.
Why is this coming off?
But all the way up, as the the girth of each branch is expanding with growth, the current skin is too tight and it's cracking, which could seem really scary and ugly. But there's already new skin underneath. And for it to get taller, the girth has to increase.
So it's okay when it seems like things are falling apart.
Yeah, like this is probably our autoresponders that we can't find. Here's some of our data. Look at this as we're expanding.
Okay, hold on. Let the tree do it on its own, honey.
Look at this.
Oh my goodness. So it was really ready. Look at the freshness underneath.
Yeah, it's like
Holy cow.
when we get those facials that cause our face to peel off.
There you go. Great analogy.
Wow, look at this. Look at this. It's so beautiful. It's already prepared. The new is there. The new is already there.
You just can't see it when you look from the outside.
You're just focusing on losing the old. You don't even see the new. Look at this down here. It's actually so beautiful.
There you go, friends. So never judge the tree by its cover. Thanks, Sabrina.
Okay. Somebody said they've got their popcorn. Beth, isn't that beautiful? That was such a gorgeous experience to see what was underneath.
You couldn't see in detail what we could see, but every branch going up was starting to crack and crackle as it was expanding to be strong enough for the next reach of that same limb, right? It was like the biceps were growing. It was getting stronger. It was busting through its shirt so that it could extend more. Mm-hmm.
You guys can see that there. That's me. That's what I'm going through right now. All these things are being peeled away, but I have to remember, where am I looking? Am I looking at that part that's falling away, or are we looking at that part that's birthing forward? Mm-hmm. And it's so important to, because the part that's falling away gets our attention more, mainly because we're identified with it. There's a feeling of attachment to it, and then we're not familiar yet with the new. Yeah. That hasn't become our normal state, our normal identity. So we almost can't even see it because we're so focused on what was, that keeps us bottled up, and the expansion's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, that bark is coming off that tree. Mm-hmm. So that tree can surrender it and just allow that newness to come forth and say, hey, y'all, look at me. I'm a fresh tree.
And it's coming off because there's so much life force going through that tree that it's just like, exploding with life and shedding the skin. I think the most difficult thing to compare it to a situation in life is we're comfortable with what is now, right? Like that beautiful bark that was there 3 weeks ago. And we'll be comfortable once it's peeled away, because it's like, oh, here was new beautiful skin right underneath. It might be a little raw at first. Did you see it was like a little bit of different color because the sun hadn't beaten down on it yet? It was fresh and new. But when they both are coexisting during that transition, where you don't, it looks like it's dying, and then the insides look like it's bleeding, and
it's so fresh.
It's when that's happening that, like for us right now, with some things happening with the companies that we use to store our data, like everything, basically our business feels like it's falling away, and we're in that crackle mode where everything is broken.
It broke everything. Yeah.
I just want it to go back to the way it is, or can it just be all new? All new, but this piecemeal,
the transition
is so uncomfortable to us.
Yeah.
To go through the transition, because we can't put a finger on it, and it seems bad. It seems wrong.
Oh, this is great, because today in our Life Force Mastery classes, our kata that we're working on is about transitions. It's called String of Pearls, how things flow together.
Kata is a short sequence of Qigong and moving meditation moves.
And as I was explaining transitions, I used the analogy of being in a vehicle going into a curve. And what's important is, let's say you're going straight and it's an L-shaped curve. The way you set yourself up as you go into the curve or the transition is so important. So all of a sudden you notice, whoa, transition, shift, life, business, whatever. How you enter in is so important to how you come out. So in a curve, many of us know, I'm pretty sure, from driving, you slow down before you go into the curve. You get the speed just right. You position yourself in the best part of the lane. And then as you turn, you actually put a little bit of gas on so that your car, your motorcycle hugs the turn. And as you're coming out of it and you're feeling the security of that centrifugal force, you start to put more gas, right, Ron? And the bike or the car goes out, and you make this beautiful transition from one experience into another. And the transition is everything in how you're going to move forward.
You are, yes.
You can crash and burn. Yeah, you can crash and burn in a turn, right? If you freak out and hit the brake and go into it like this, you ain't coming out of that turn. And that's life right there, right? So it's the ability to recognize awareness. You see the sign. Oh, transition ahead. Mm-hmm. We got that. Hey guys, all your data's gone. Okay, transition ahead. Let's slow it on down. Let's navigate how we're going to go into this transition. Let's find the best possible lane that we could be in right now. And as we're moving through it, we're starting to turn the volume up, turn the throttle up, and we're starting to see a new path.
Right.
That's key. Transitions are everything.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I like that, Ron. You know what? When you come out of a turn and you do well, you feel really pumped. Like, wow, look, this just slingshot me into this new, clear, wow. And that's what's happening for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to see
I would have used a different analogy because
a light at the end of the tunnel.
no, because I don't like, I'm not a fast driver.
You don't
so
have to do it fast.
I would have a tendency to, I just want to go straight.
Sabrina
so
would
that's
break in the
great.
turn. It's a good thing I drive most of the time.
But it's like this. We, a few years ago, I got this Groupon.
Okay.
And it was it wasn't like a medical spa. It was like
Oh my gosh, is this that
what
one?
do you call it? It's like a facial place. And the coupon was 3 chemical peels for $99. That's really, really good. They're usually like $150 a piece. And we had never had them, but my father had a few skin cancers removed. And one of my friends that is a plastic surgeon said, you should do chemical peels or do things to get your skin to regenerate.
And you'd spend a lot of time in the sun in the past.
Yeah, well, when I was
lot.
ballroom dancing, I did those tanning beds because I needed to be tan. So yeah, so we looked into it and we went, and basically it's like nothing. You lay there, and they put something on a cotton ball that smells kind of like acetone, and they just rub your face with it, and you're like, ah, fire ants all over my face. And you really have to do a lot of mindset because you're going to punch that person in the face for wiping your face with that. You didn't, I thought it was pleasure. You're in a bed and
It's not pleasure.
they're playing music and the lights are low. I'm like, and then they wipe my face. And then they're like, okay, you're not frosting.
You were frothing from the mouth.
Let's do it again. So they wipe your face 3 times with, it's actually like salicylic glycolic and
More than you ever needed to know about skincare, but hey, maybe not.
No, this is really good.
Good to know.
So what it does is then you leave, and like after 5 minutes you're like, well, that was a waste of time. Yeah. No
you wait
results.
till tomorrow.
No, but it's like 4 days later. 4 days later, you're eating and you're chewing, and all of a sudden he's got like this dandruffy mustache because the skin has died, that top layer, and it just starts peeling off just like that tree. And the first time Tristan did it, the second time, his face before it peeled off had these dark freckles on it.
All came to the surface.
Like crazy big dark freckles, and they came to the surface and they just peeled off. And so we called the esthetician, and she said that's sun damage that was deeper in the skin coming off, and then it never happened
Such
again.
great lessons. So the things that are inside that could be damaging to us actually need to come to the surface. Think pimple, toxins in the body, it comes to the surface so it can be cleansed away. There's a lot of cleansing going on in all of our lives right now.
Yeah.
We're building our strength, our vitality. We're pivoting in ways that we never would have before to grow, to have the freshness come through, and also peel away the toxins and the debris that no longer serves us.
But for like 4 days, when your face is peeling off, you don't look so good, right? You don't look so good. You're like, can I either have my old face back or my new face? But this half and half, just like that tree, had half of its old bark and half of its new bark.
So the intelligence is to be able to understand the process that you're going through. Understand the natural phenomenon of transformation, to not judge the scenario so harshly or react as strongly, to trust life's process, to trust divine orchestration, to know that if you do the right things in the right way and you follow suit, you will come out on the other side much better off. But you can't just lay there and do nothing. I think you have to stay present, and you have to receive the information coming to you and ask yourself, what does this mean for me? What is the next best move or step? Like, for example, the truck that we have that my dad left behind.
Can you show the tree to Beth and Doug?
Yeah.
So if
You guys want to see the movie again?
If you missed the matinee that played earlier in the episode, This is the
Having a
tree.
moment with this tree, and Sabrina said something kind of interesting and cool. So, see how it's all peeling off? Look, you got a big piece in your hand.
Yeah.
Why is this coming off?
But all the way up, as the, what you call it, the girth of each branch is expanding with growth, the current skin is too tight and it's cracking, which could seem really scary and ugly. But there's already new skin underneath. And for it to get taller, the girth has to increase.
So it's okay when it seems like things are falling apart.
Yeah, like this is probably our autoresponders that we can't find. Here's some of our data. Look at this as we're expanding.
Okay, hold on. Let the tree do it on its own, honey.
Look at this.
Oh my goodness. So it was really ready. Look at the freshness underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of
That
you
was
that
like
missed some
a
of
big
that,
chunk of the skin that was coming off.
all these metaphors, because we're going through all these different things right now. So a metaphor lets you look in through a different lens and identify it to your life, your situation, right? So I have another interesting scenario that was happening yesterday. Yes, trusting the process is so key. So I'll tell you about trusting a process. There's a big truck that is parked in front of our home, and it was left to me by my father. It's a big race truck that goes off-roading, and my dad was
huge.
a race car driver, what's called known as a gearhead, motorcycles, trucks, cars, all of it. As a young man, he used to race Mini Coopers in England, and so I grew up around that. And this man bought me motorcycles when I was a kid, and so I love all that stuff. I bought the Mini Cooper that I have today. He helped me find it, and so now that we have the big truck, and we went to Las Vegas where he lived and picked up the truck and drove it back to Austin so we could have it. The battery died, and it's been very peculiar. So we had to go and buy a new battery, and then it worked great. And then a couple of months later, the battery was dead again. So we've taken it to different places that, garages to look, and everybody says there's nothing wrong. There's no electrical issues.
Over and over.
It's just multiple times, and batteries aren't cheap. So the last stint of this, the battery's dead, and so the truck just sits and sits and sits. And we actually speak directly with Peter, my dad, in the etheric plane. I'm like, dude, what's up with the truck, man?
He's
like,
Daddy,
dude, what's up with the truck, Peter, Dad? I don't get it, And so he had done all these weird things, like change the engine, and I mean, I'm still finding things in the truck, like things that plug into little places and big lights and stuff tucked to, like, I don't know. It's just all this weird, like a CB and CB? That
CD.
no,
CB radio.
Hey,
Yeah.
Roger,
Breaker,
10-4, big buddy. Yeah, all that stuff's in there. So
Some kind of sheriff's badge or something.
there's a couple of keys, and there's been this thing, I don't have it right now, it's in the truck, but it's been hanging off this key, and it looks like kind of like a lockbox and a thing that you can pull out.
Like a teeny tiny padlock. Right?
So it's just been there forever, and I've never known what it's for. Anyway.
I thought it was an accessory to the keychain.
Yeah, it just was a weird thing. So we are having our streets yesterday repaved. And so you have to move all your vehicles from the street. So we got to get the truck out of here. We got to get it pulled up in the driveway. Well, it won't freaking start. So
And we had waited because we're dealing with the crisis in the business. It's like 9 o'clock at night, and they're going to tow you by 7 in the morning. So
yeah,
it's like
they're going to tow this big truck. Good luck. So I'm out there at night with the flashlight, and Sabrina's car pulled up in front with the jumper cables, and I'm doing it, and it's not starting, and you let the car run to keep charging, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, eventually things got going where it seemed like it might almost turn over, but I lost the flashlight that I had. I couldn't find the freaking flashlight anywhere. And so now
and he just had it.
I went and got another flashlight. I'm digging through all the things inside the truck trying to find the other flashlight. It must have fallen down, and I found a box that was very special to me with my dad's birth date and things like that. And I was really having a conversation with him like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? What's going on? Can't you just help me figure this out? This has been months. This has been over years that this isn't working. And so I'm looking under the dashboard for the flashlight. Maybe it fell under there. And I see this little pluggy thing that looks a lot like the thing on my keychain. I'm like, what is that?
It's like the size of a nickel, right?
It's about this big, and it's got a round kind of a U-shaped hook on it. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm pulling on it. It doesn't come out. And I'm like, pulling on it. And I got a key, and I popped it out. It's like, what the heck, you know? And I'm like, it's the exact same thing as the one on the keychain. I wonder what it's for. And then I put it back in. I swapped it out. I swapped it out with the one I had on my keychain. I put it in, and the truck just started. I'm like, what's going on, Dad? So I move the truck and do all these things. Well, it turns out that this thing that he had installed on the truck separates the power drain inside the vehicle from the battery. So the battery doesn't drain while you're not driving it. When you want to drive it, you plug it in. Well, he wasn't planning on kicking the bucket, so for whatever reason, it had been left in there. No one knew what it was, and nobody knew to tell us that you need to pull that thing out each time you drive it. I closed the hood, the truck started, and there's the flashlight sitting. It had rolled down behind the hood. And you know, like
where the windshield wipers are, down in that little groove.
This whole orchestration, this whole thing somehow was created for me to figure out what that thing was on the keychain. It was messy. It was weird. It didn't make sense. It was inconvenient.
You know, we were frustrated.
And yet, the universe, Peter, found a way to put things into place so that we could have a solution. Sometimes, friends, it's just messy. It doesn't make sense. But what do you have to do? Trust the process. And all along, I was trusting that something was trying to help me.
Yeah, you were even saying, because our brother Larry was out there, and he was like, Peter's messing with me. Peter's trying to help me to understand something.
It was completely that. And if you stay open and receptive to what's the lesson, I'm pretty sure that you'll have those experiences too, where it's just shown. It doesn't even make sense.
An inconvenience, a series of inconvenient bad things had to happen. Losing the flashlight, going to look for it, finding this box.
It was so weird.
Looking for the flashlight. Oh, what's that weird thing? Oh, wait a minute. I saw a weird thing like that. Let me pull it out. Who does that, ladies? Do you ever see something like under your steering wheel that looks like part of the car and think, I think I'm gonna pull that out? No, we don't do that.
I knew I might be breaking something here, but Dad, I'm on the trail.
It didn't work anyway.
And this is like, it was a fun mystery. It became fun. So what if all the different things that we're going through right now, email, pandemic, all the things, is a mystery for us to discover into what's next for us?
Yeah.
What's the fresh underneath the old bark version of us that wants to come through?
Yep.
Because expansion, like Sabrina used the term, the width, the girth, has to expand. It has to grow. We have to create space for more. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what's happening? Yeah. Isn't this consciousness's way of creating space for more?
Yeah.
Look at what's happening with all of the eventually the riots shifted to the protests, the peaceful protests, but the bonding, the unity that's happening through all of that craziness.
Even though we were talking about the waters, that
this is amazing.
I have a friend that we do business with that lives on the ocean in Laguna Beach, and he paddleboards, and he's sort of dedicates every free moment to paddleboarding with dolphins and whales and filming it. He does videos and photos.
Beautiful.
And what he's showing lately, he said that the water is so clear and clean right now that there's so much wildlife, and the dolphins are coming so close to the shore. And they're saying in other countries, water that you couldn't even swim in, it was so polluted, is now clean. So through what has happened and society having to shift and change, and this whole at home has allowed parts of the earth to rejuvenate in ways that I don't think we thought were possible.
It's incredible.
At all. We thought it's totally impossible. It can never go back to being that way. And if you kind of Google it and read, even air and smog, like LA, the air has never been better. So these things are happening that everyone desired. We're not looking that direction, but there is a fresh and renewing. But here's the tough pill to swallow. So that tree better not get used to that new skin, because next year it's gonna fall off again, because life is about expanding and unfolding. And we went back and got those peels. We didn't just do 3, we did 2 more sets of 3, right? You should do it every
for
year.
the face.
Yeah,
Right.
the facial peel.
Yeah.
And then when I asked them what's the theory behind it, and the reason I really like that type of beauty care and body care and self-care is because it's triggering the body to do what it does best. Just like nature right now is doing what it does best. It tells the brain, whoa, something just kind of killed off that top layer of skin. I better make some fresh new skin and get rid of what has been damaged. And that trigger wouldn't have happened without the irritant. If they hadn't that lady wiped that cotton ball of acid on my face, my brain would have just kept the old, would have kept the sun damage, which it can turn to cancer, instead of telling the brain, whoa, no, fire it up, something bad is happening, pretty much. Get rid of it, make new skin, make fresh skin, make skin without wrinkles, make plump skin, make collagen, right? But you have to think about that. So the next time I went in and the lady was wiping my face with the cotton ball, and I was like, whew. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh no, Andrea, I'm paying you to do this. I want this.
I think it shows that it works. If anyone wants skin insights, it's you, honey. You've really studied that stuff.
I'm so in awe of how intelligent the body is, and how if you can find ways to trigger for it to do the genius work that it does, do that.
So lots of analogies, lots of really helpful, I think, insights, things that we're reminding ourselves, because we're always seeking the lesson too, right? What can we share with you guys that's relevant, that can give you a clear lens to look through, lay on top of life as it is in your world, that can serve you? You know, our slogan around here is be love, serve love, make a difference. It's always coming back to the be love first. Yes, reaction. Yes, irritant. So that why? So that growth can happen. So that love can birth more love. Yeah. And to be that understanding, welcoming person that you are, that, you know, doesn't judge the process, doesn't judge others. The messenger is delivering the message that you pretty much asked for. We all did. We said, hey, we came here for a reason. We call this soul school, right? There are lessons we need. Please bring me what I need. Yep. Then the person comes along with the message you need, and we get all pissed off at them. And it's not really their fault. You know, I know that's a tough pill to swallow, and people do silly stuff that just doesn't seem fair. But I got to really remember this one, because I've had the tendency to react towards others thinking they're doing it to me. Wait a minute. What if I'm doing it for me? And the universe is just fulfilling the order.
Yep.
What if?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah. And I just wanted to remember, guys, what we talked about. If you saw when we went live on Sunday night, we talked about a dream that I had, but it was basically about surrendering it was a box of worries. You put all your worries in a box, like surrendering that to faith and to love, because it's very hard, that coexisting of the old with the new. You have to, it's something I have to keep surrendering the worries, right? And so I was telling Tristan today, you know, people say, well, how? They say it to me a lot. you're like the most positive person I know. How do you stay so positive? And it doesn't feel like I'm staying positive. It's that I'm re-choosing to be grateful, re-choosing to see everything as love every single moment. And you know how I know when I'm not? Doesn't feel good. Feel sad. I'm highly emotional. What a blessing. I get a knot in my stomach. I get a lump in my throat. I get indigestion. I get a headache. Some people get a backache. So when I'm not in aligned with flow and love, I know it. And it's time to let go of those worries. And you don't really have to have faith when you consistently do it, because you are that. That is who you are.
Faith's more than a noun, huh?
Yeah, that's what we were saying. That a lot of people say.
I'm faithing right now.
Faith. I said tell Tristan earlier. Faith isn't really a noun.
It's not a set it and forget it.
It's a verb.
It's an ongoing
every
practice.
moment.
Yeah.
It's a knowing.
Choosing to be in faith.
Knowing.
Yeah. That's beautiful. There it is, friends. Tips of the day.
Yeah, we're glad we have each other too, Patty.
And yes, it is that beautiful body intelligence. I'll leave you with my final little take on knowing what to do next. I feel like there are 3 information centers that are highly valuable to listen to, and they're embedded in your nature. The first is the gut instinct, and you mentioned feeling off in the tummy or whatever, right? We feel the heebie-jeebies, we feel emotional stuckness or sick in our tummy. That's when that energy center down here is disrupted massively.
Or like telling you something.
Yeah, gut instinct, people would say. It's an intelligence, and it's something to listen to. It's there to help you. And the other one is here. This, people would say, is a spiritual knowing. It's an understanding. It's a deep internal intelligence, right? A knowing. And then we often will talk about this center, the wisdom center. This is that intuitive hit, the intuition. So when you use all 3 and you fire on all 3 cylinders, you have this incredible level of awareness. Yes, you've got mental, intellectual, pros and cons awareness, but there's an intuition, a clairvoyance that's incredible when you go beyond busy thinking, reactive mind. So 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You learn to read them all and use them all. It's incredible.
And for me, I used to think that 1 was higher, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 10, this is like a 6, and this is a 1. And that evolved people really just focus on 1. And turns out I was wrong. And it's just like that tree. I actually think that tree might have been some type of crepe myrtle. And the roots into the ground, very important. Very important.
Very important.
Right? It's like the power center. And then the tree itself, beautiful. And then there's the flowering, the pink flowers, the white flowers, the buds, the fragrance, what the birds see. That's like the wisdom center. All 3 of great value, and all 3 serving different needs. And I love that integration of mind, body, 1, of really being so grateful to have the human experience, to use the emotional guidance system, to choose love, to practice faithing. And from the whole being, everything is good. Everything is a gift. Everything happens for me. I'm not the victim of anything. It's all for me. It's just up to us.
There it is. The episode number. Blah, 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 blah. This is our resilience song.
Thank you for being here, James.
Yeah, James. Thanks for all the love. Great to see you always.
Trudy, we're friends with Mary. Really,
Yeah.
actually, pretty good friends with her son and daughter too.
Yeah.
Matt and
What's her daughter's name that does the fitness training? Is it Jennifer?
Jennifer Jimenez.
Yeah.
She's actually does dancing.
Have an
Take off your
amazing.
glasses.
Oh, it's glass free.
Do you know why we do that?
Yes, they know.
Some people might not.
We always
Okay,
tell
we can't tell.
them. Why? Why do we do it?
Because we have to have one shot where we're not moving, that when you're scrolling your news feed, that's what people see, so that we're not like this.
Don't give up. Use it all, friends. Use it all. Expansion for all. I like to say all for love and love for all. Au revoir. Arrivederci. Namaste.